Sociology 3.3 asks that you can identify characteristics and explain the interaction between individuals and groups. First, it's important to know what are some different types of groups. So there are primary and secondary groups, reference, social networks, in-groups, and out-groups. A primary group is a group that knows you in all aspects of your life. It is a group in which the interactions mostly take place in person and over a long period of time, so usually in terms of years. A secondary group is one that is more temporary in nature. This is a group that is usually task-oriented, such as classmates or coworkers. A reference group is a group in which you look to for certain roles. This may be older siblings, it could be someone with an upperclassman or someone with a job that you may want. Your social network is the sum total of all the groups that you are part of. So in school, at home, with your friends, at your job, in your hobbies. All right, an in-group is any group that you are part of and therefore conform to their norms. And an out-group is one that you do not belong to and at times may even become almost hostile towards. All right, some things that influence you based on your groups. The number of people in the groups. All right, so we've got dyads with 2 people, triads, so on and so forth. The more people in the group, the more possible relationships that take place. The number of relationships can influence the experience within that group. A formal group is something that may be structured like at work or school, where there are specifically defined positions. You have to have certain credentials to get the job, and then there are very specific expectations once you have that position. An informal group is much more fluid in nature. So an informal structure in a group may be something like family or friends, in which the roles vary. There's no specific requirements to have that job or to have that status. Compliance is the most mild form of conformity. These are actions that we take to gain a reward or to avoid a punishment. Maybe it's you're in a car with your friends and a song comes on that a friend really likes. You don't really care for the song, but when they ask you, don't you love this song? You respond, yes. That way they don't think that you have some different likes, right? You're compliant in what they like. All right, identification is then conforming to establish or maintain a relationship within a person or group. All right, so maybe we'll take the same example with the band. You may identify if you buy that band's t-shirt the next time you're at the mall. You're continuing to show that you agreed that you were compliant with the likes in terms of music. Internalization is the strongest type of conformity. This is when an individual adopts the beliefs or actions of a group and makes them his or her own. If the example with the song, you may find yourself listening to the radio, and when that particular group comes on, you realize that you actually really like them. You have internalized those expectations for music. All right, all groups have certain functions. So no matter the group, they all define boundaries, who's in the group and who's not. They all select leaders, assign tasks, control member behavior, make decisions, and set goals. So whether this be your friends or your classmates or your coworkers, your family, all of these things are happening. If these things do not happen, that group is not likely to continue. A couple examples we talked about in class for the influence of groups. We talked about McDonaldization, where one group, a formal secondary group, impacted the rest of society. McDonaldization is the process of rationalization to really almost any task. Rationalization means to replace traditional rules for logical, consistent rules, such as efficiency, calculability, predictability, and control. So in all aspects of our life, maybe school or sports, media, we expect things to be done quickly. We want to make sure that it is quality. And under McDonaldization, the number of things, the quantity, means that it's worth more value. That's why we have so many things in our homes. We want things to be predictable, to happen the same times. And we've also started to take the human aspect out, putting in machines as much as possible. Another example we talked about in class is the mob mentality. This is the influence of groups to adopt certain behaviors. when people shed their inhibitions of societal norms and moral standards in order to conform to the group. The group creates an us versus them mentality, so an in-group versus an out-group. Some examples for this may be when a protester storms a government building, or when people join online to bully another person, sports fans causing riots or looting. All of these happen when people are conforming to the groups. That's everything.